Ew. Where's my Discord one? Do I need to reboot it? Hold on. It's crazy. I've never had this problem. Hey, everybody, look. It's a whole dark screen. Nope, that didn't seem to fix anything at all. Hold on. Well, that's not good.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, the stream is working.
Awesome. At least that part's going well. I think I need this one. Well, none of that is very helpful. Game capture's not gonna do it either. Okay. Oh, now it wants to go. Okay. There we go. Okay, dokie artichokes. Roll call.
Ryan.
Kyle.
Mikey.
It's Steven! Well. Welcome back. To episode number 6 of our Misty Fortunes and Absent Hearts campaign. This is titled The Executioner and the Marionette. When we last left our Forgotten Realms party in the dark twisted lands of Barovia, the party had, at the very last roll, the very skin of their teeth, returned back to the village of Orsnu, finding themselves at the doorstep of the Hare and the Hare. Gregory pulled the party in and helped them recover from their long journey into the Zvalich forest and against the very blizzard threatening to freeze them to death. With the party members and Gregory settling down for the better part of 5 days, snowed into the Hare and the Hare as the blizzard raged. The party undertook various forms of downtime, with Virgil building a number of doghouses for this missing wolf pup, Jove journaling the entirety of the time, and Alder unsuccessfully trying to add some scrolls into a spellbook. The blizzard dissipated and allowed the party to begin to explore their new surroundings in earnest, traveling through the city square to the Seven Tables Inn, where they met Marku Grellin, the proprietor of the Seven Tables Inns, a large, almost living room-like inn, hosting the vast majority of the town folks, happy to be broken from their slight cabin fever of the blizzard's 5 days strong. There, they heard various rumors surround the city, from the high taxes and shakedowns from the burgomaster Ivan von Radovich, to strange tales from the either disappearance of the Valduvas to the citizens' very own heirlooms having been confiscated once upon a time, but seemingly showing up in a strange shop known as the Eyes of Midnight. The party listened to local gossip, ingratiated themselves to the proprietors, and after a hot meal and some better booze, headed to investigate the rest of the city, stopping at the Eyes of Midnight, meeting the strange bird-like proprietor, Filar, himself a hook-nosed, feathered-in attire, and with eyes as dark as midnight, bartering a number of strange goods, exotic and well-kept, but otherwise unuseful to the normal day-to-day of the village of Orsnu. Alder, leading the way after some conversations and intimidations by Virgil, struck up a burgeoning partnership with Filar, promising to exchange information and goods at a later date, for the promise of gold ravens on one side or the other. There, the party encountered a strange individual, Eric, who had a awful, pungent smell that nearly made Joe vomit, a coldness to his body that gave the party pause, as he seemed for the last few days to frequent Filar in the Eyes of Midnight, buying all manner of odd bits and baubles. The party, intrigued by this stranger in the village of Orsnu, decided to follow him, seeing that he had seemingly squatted in the Valduva's former homestead, their trading post now abandoned after the party discovered what had remained of the young couple. Now a dingy, unkept den where Eric has seemingly been squatting. The party found strange objects, but the cold, foul-smelling man with the wolfskin cat was not to be found. Following his trail deeper into the woods surrounding the village, the party encountered a strong, palatable mist. Gray, scathing, almost moaning into the darkness. The party tried in vain to follow these footsteps. An unknown amount of time passed as Jove led the party back to the Valduva trading post. In the same spot they had left, a puzzling and particularly maddening set of events. As the party pushed through these deep fogs, returning to where they had began, a decaying, reanimated bear followed the party, hunting their very footsteps. Its body, rife with decay, swelled to the point of bursting, and as the party engaged with this undead ursine, its body exploded in the chest cavity, and its guts, displaying a swarm of centipedes. The party was quick to react, using their wits and their strengths of feet to beat back this ursine and this swarm of centipedes. Jove calling upon his newly acquired curse to enhance his abilities, his rage fueled not from Achilles' Teutonic form, but from the very curse that now afflicts him from Elena Valduva. We return back to the party. The undead bear and its swarm of centipedes now laid low. The two-thirds moon, waning but ever present. As Alder and Virgil, you look to your companion, fingers outstretched like claws, hair bristling, eyes sharpened, the glow of the moon radiating off of their face. As Jove, could I have you make a wisdom saving throw as you look upon your party in your heightened state?
Wisdom save is going to be a 14.
14. You feel the blood pulse in your body. The need to consume. The need to fight. Straining against you as you look into the eyes of your companions. Alder and Virgil, make me insight or perception. The choice is yours.
That's a 22 for insight.
Insight.
17.
In
Perception.
perception. Alder, you look to Jove. You look to his eyes. Instead of the strong, warm embrace of a halfling of the Dalelands, you see a predatorial glint. You feel yourself subconsciously reach for your weapon. As you lock eyes, Jove's body tenses, yours in return, whilst you are no longer in your tabaxi form. The instincts linger. You feel yourself draw low as you hold this eye contact, almost stuck in this high noon pose within the moonlight. Virgil, your eyes pull to the left. Past the Valduva trading post, you see torchlight. Individuals all gathered. A veritable mob begins to round the corner, heading towards your direction. Their voices yet to reach you, but as your eyes pull from Jove in this moment, you can't help but to notice this ever-growing mob beginning to descend upon you. Alder, what do you do in this moment?
Alder. Oh. Alder staying completely focused on Jove here in this situation, I think is gonna. Let me just verify. Okay, I just was checking to see if this. Oh no, I can't. Ooh. Yeah, Alder has obviously the dagger equipped. Is gonna speak out to Jove and say, "I know you're hungry, fella. Trust me, I get that feeling better than most people on this one. But you better not bite off more than you can chew. Are you in there, Jove, or are you not?"
Alder, go ahead and make a persuasion check with advantage.
That's a nat 20.
A nat 20.
Nat
Jove.
20.
These words cut across. You feel as if someone flicked you right in the forehead. You feel your hair begin to lay low, and you feel yourself begin to exit your rage. Your eyesight loses focus for a moment, and as you blink away, you see Alder in a defensive position. Virgil's gaze turned to the left as he looks offwards, and you feel your senses return to you. At that very same moment, a large swarm of clouds begin to cover up the moon, the light dimming, but the moon no longer shining on your face. The hunger dulls to a throb instead of a twang. As Jove, you regain your senses. Virgil, you notice this mob bound the corner. You'd have to guess there's probably about 20 or so people, armed with various torches, shovels, pitchforks, basic farming, tilling tools, but all gathered together, their voices mingling, starting to raise as they get ever closer. Their eyes, you're not sure, focused on yourself or perhaps the Valduva trading post itself. You'd say now they're probably about 300 feet or so away.
just for context, DM, is Jove still like part transformed, or is he completely out of it?
As this rage comes to an end, and with your nat 20 persuasion, you can see his hair stands down his end, his fingers uncurl and unclaw, returning back to their strong, sausage-like halfling form.
Yeah, I want to approach the mob
Indeed.
with my weapon out.
You begin approaching the mob, your weapon out. What does Virgil's face look like? How do you approach with your gait and with your stature?
Strong, but not yet like intimidating. I mean, generally intimidating, but not like intentionally trying to get under your skin.
Give me a performance check.
19.
19. Virgil, you leave your companions to their stare off. Walk forward, war pick drawn, in a stoic, controlled way. It balanced perfectly in your hands. Not to attack, but simply in show. Fear alleviates you, leaves you, as you step forward, head held high, eyes even, metered, as you approach this mob. And as you get within about 100 feet or so, you see the faces of the villagers of Orsnu. Anger glaring, their face twisted in a frenzy of fear and anger. As they approach on you, you feel your muscles tightened. And in that moment where they could easily draw their weapons upon you, you see the mob turn to the left and begin to focus their attention onto the Valduva trading post. A young man, a strong mustache, his sideburns patchy, not yet connecting. You'd have to guess he's probably in his late teens, maybe early 20s. Go ahead and roll me insight.
1.
He doesn't strike you as particularly familiar as he leads this mob forward, and they begin to stop right outside the Valduva trading post. You stand braced and ready, but with this proper performance check, they seem unconcerned with you and your party in this moment. Their rage focused towards this darkened building. Alder and Jove, as you see Virgil leave, you also watch this series of events, as it looks like Virgil is about to walk straight into the embrace of this mob before they make a quick turn to the left, leaving him alone for the moment.
Jove, having kind of like sloughed off that quarter wolf form, still kind of eyes locked with Alder, with his normal halfling hands, will kind of show them open and palms down, facing towards Alder to show he means no harm, and says, "I'm in control, Alder. No worries, but I'm worried about that mob, them getting out of control. I'd hate for any of us, especially Virgil, to become the center of that. We probably should go over there, see what's going on."
Alder kind of cautiously kind of puts the dagger back as you're saying that and says, "Well, good timing on your part. Come on, let's go check it out."
I'm gonna start dashing towards the cabin.
You begin dashing towards the cabin, your party racing to catch up with you. the young man leading the head of this mob begins to speak. Eric! Eric! My name is Vasil Marku. You are no longer welcome in our village. You squat in the remains of the Valduvas. Our kinsmen, our fellows, see you with our ill-begotten goods, stolen by the very own burgomaster. You reek of death and unsullied trappings. We have come to cleanse you from this very village. Show yourself and face us. Virgil, as he finishes the speaking, you finally gather into the mob itself. Some look at you with a mix of fear before returning back, too caught up in their own anger, too caught up in the very moments of this altercation to give you much notice. You have the ability to speak if you would like, or you may allow the events to play out.
Yeah, I'm gonna let the events play out and just stay near the front, waiting for something to happen physically.
You join into him, your large body falling in place with the rest of the mob. You easily make it to the front, yourself heads taller than the vast majority of the villagers. Many of them sunken eyes, sullen expresses, twisted into a rage, armed with whatever is available to them. Alder and Jove, you're able to cross the distance and catch up to Virgil, standing by his side if you would like. The moment is yours.
Well, I don't know much about talking down a mob, but they don't seem like they're necessarily here for us. You want to just watch and see what comes of it, or you feeling heroic, friend?
Well, we were looking for the same fella anyways, and from what I found in there, which maybe we keep between us for now, yeah, he might be worthy of being exorcised from this village.
And go on.
I just don't want to draw the ire of this mob if they're looking for somebody to blame.
Agreed. We don't need to be associated right now. And if our friend don't make it out of here, between you and me, our price just went up with our new trinket friend.
What about you, Virgil? You okay sitting and watching this?
Yeah, I'm at the front of the mob, and you see me just watching very intently.
As Jove is kind of sitting here, with his companions within this mob, can he kind of like tap into his new hearing abilities, and can he single out a couple of voices in the crowd? Do they all seem pretty on board with this? Everybody seems pissed off from the outset, but Joe just kind of wants to tap the feeling of the crowd the best as he can with his perception.
Go ahead, with your advantage on hearing checks. I'll say that it's not an ability of hearing for this one, it's an ability of insight. So go ahead and roll insight on the crowd.
Gotcha. Okay, insight is going to be... So that is a 17.
A 17. Listening to the crowd, you can hear people grumble and growl about their ill-taken goods. You sense a sort of fervor to this, inspired probably by the days stuck locked in their own homes. You don't hear very many dissenting voices on this. This seems almost cathartic in its release of this violence. On top of that, I'll say with that insight, you register as you hear this young man leading the mob forward. The last name does ring a bell to you, Jove. As you kind of sit and listen to this, you recognize that this individual seems to be related to Marku Grellin. And I misspoke, last name is Malasu Grellin, the owner of the Seven Inns table and the place where the vast majority of gossip in this town takes place. What you do with that information is up to you.
Gotcha. He'll just kind of note that for himself and continue soaking in the crowd.
Yes, Alder and Jove, do you join Virgil at the front of the mob?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Jove would.
You see... Oh, go ahead, Alder.
I was gonna say Alder hesitantly would.
Taking a hesitant step forward behind your companions, you see Vasile Grellin strike the front door, a torch in hand. Doof, doof, doof. Eric! Eric, face us, you coward! 2 whole days, the last people to see you disappeared to the woods. No one knows you. You smell of death. We of Orsnu will take no longer to you, outsider. Open! And as he slams the door again, the door opens. And you see Eric in his wolfskin cap. His clothes bundled up clothes, the inside completely dark. You all should leave. Leave now. And a cold chill goes over the crowd, exuding from Eric himself. His eyes dark pits. No moonlight or torchlight reflects off of them. His body almost seemingly embraced by the shadows. You see the young Grellin steady himself. His hands grip the torch as he holds it high in the air, and with a loud scream, forces it forward in a downward arc, striking out at Eric. The flames leap upon him, but Eric does not move in pain or agony. He simply places a large hand over. There's a psss as the cold meets fire and is extinguished. I told you to leave. Now we feast! And with a long, broken, mournful screech, it rings out to the crowd. And I need everybody to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, that's a 3.
That's a 3.
9.
339. All 3 of you are frozen as the crowd mirrors your energy, as everyone in that single moment stops. The crowd goes quiet. The wind dies. And this pained, low yet high, equal parts growl, equal parts moan, equal parts scream cuts through you to your very heart, as everyone, including the crowd, is frightened. And as the young Grellin drops his torch in Eric's presence, Eric reaches forward, A hand closes around the young man's throat. He brings him forward. You can see him starting to tear from neck down into chest as he grabs the very sternum of this young man. You can see his fingers inching inches deep. The blood begins to spill forward. And with an inhale, you see him almost put the entirety of his jaw, the scarf covering his face, dropping down. Cold, dead flesh exposed. You can see a neck wound ripped deep into his side as the face almost goes entirely over the young Gorillin. And with a you see wispy white energy leave the very young man and enter into Eric. And as it does, it shoots down into the ground and the ground shatters and breaks as you see two medium, almost on the size of large humanoids, their faces squat, squished together in a mash of teeth, their ears elongated, their flesh gray, almost stone-like, their limbs long, hanging down almost ape-like, clawed at the ends, and two decaying, ripped apart, as if they'd been stabbed numerous times, hold on to the legs, and as these large undead creatures pull from the ground and begin to embrace the crowd, you can see they drag forward these two other bodies, who then begin to bite at the ankles and the limbs of the villagers down in this mob. Their bodies tear and sunder. The screams replace the anger as the crowd begins to disperse in a matting, as people step over, crush each other underneath each other's feet, as a mad dash to leave this horror site begins. I need everybody to roll initiative.
I have advantage on initiative, right?
You do.
Nice.
Wait,
Didn't need
do you have the Whip of Warning or Shield of Perception?
I have the shield.
Let me double
Shield
check.
does. It does. It gives you advantage in perception, but feel free to check.
No, initiative is my question.
I'm sorry. Yeah, advantage on initiative.
Okay.
You do indeed.
My first roll is higher anyways.
Let's take like 21, 10, and 3. Oh, gosh. To set the scene, the three of you are at the front of this dispersing mob. Virgil and Jove at the front points. Your hands pull to your heart, to your neck, to your vital points as this scream rips through you, as your heart turns cold, as the fear grips you, and all you want to do is to flee from this sight. In front of you, about 10 feet away or so, you see two large undead creatures, taller than most. Virgil, they appear to be at eye level with you. Attached to each one of their ankles, you see a undead humanoid body animating, clawing out the two sets of these creatures, one to the left and one to the right of Eric, 10 feet away, as they gnaw into the crowd, those unlucky enough not to run away at the onset of the scream. Eric himself, his face exposed, the teeth pulled back, the lips cracked and torn, the shoulder wound deep, bearing the marks of a vicious animal attack. Could I have all three of you roll me insights on seeing Eric's visage? Alder, you stand right behind your party members, them being almost like a buffer between you, as the same fear grips your heart.
11.
19.
That's a 9.
Virgin Alder, the fear grips you, but Jove, as your entire field of view, your focus goes onto Eric and this scream. The shoulder wound appears familiar, while the face is taut in its undead frigidness. You recognized a corpse that once held those wounds. One you discovered in an abandoned camp on your way to find Alina Valduva. The same marks you saw on Laszlo Valduva. And as the realization grips you, you feel your heart grow even colder. As Eric locks eyes with you for the moment, before he turns and enters back into the Valduva trading post, the door shutting behind him, as he unleashes these undead horrors onto the mob. We turn to Jove. It is your move. You are currently frightened.
Which means I can't move forward, correct?
Indeed.
Luckily, I have a Whip of Warning, which does have the reach property. You said they're 10 feet from me?
They are indeed.
Cool. Well, then he'll pop out that old whip and go to the one that's, I guess, closest to him. I believe that is a D4 damage dice. Let's see if I hit first. I believe I do with a 24.
A 24. Which one are you hitting?
They're like two monstrosities. Eric was in the center. Eric went back indoors. So are they two identical monstrosities?
Seemingly identical. They have some dregs of clothing still left on them that seem to show some sides of difference, but one is to the left and one is to the right. A pair.
Cool. Jove will hit the one on the left.
Gotcha. Go ahead and make your attack.
I did. That was a 24 to hit.
That does hit.
I'm just double checking the damage dice on a whip. I do believe it's a D4.
It is indeed.
It is D4. Okay, so, and that is for 4 slashing.
Indeed. 4 slashing as it cuts across, the loud crack of the whip, as it flays part of the flesh, but the creature is seemingly undisturbed.
Yeah, so he'll kind of pop him in the face. Jove wants to take more control of this situation, but because he's frightened, it's taking all that he can just to stand his ground. So he will do so with the whip in his hand, and he kind of has a frog in his throat as he wants to yell out to the crowd, but doesn't know if that's going to do much good anyway. So he'll end his turn standing his ground.
All right. The same creature that you struck moves forward to attack you, Job. It drags along we'll just say what it is, the zombie behind it, as the zombie continues to gnaw on an unfortunate villager caught in its grasp. It towers over you and strikes down a claw. That's a 19.
Is he within 5 feet of me now?
He is.
Sentinel.
Go ahead and make your attack.
Nine.
That's not gonna do. Job, does a 19 hit?
Definitely.
Go ahead and make me a Constitution saving throw.
I'm pretty good at those. That's an 18.
18. That's gonna pass. Oh, that's not the D8 I needed. Dates. Whoa, that's too far. Please no. Alright, Jove, you take 7 points of slashing damage as this creature draws this clawed hand forward, striking into you. You feel it pierce into your flesh, and those same wispy white energy that animated it suddenly turn dark as they pierce into you. You're able to push back with your constitution and push this paralyzing agent from your wounds. That's going to be its turn.
The last little bit of that rally cry from Virgil helping him kind of shrug through that.
The second monstrosity moves forward towards you, Virgil, as you try to impose disadvantage, not disoppose. It'll make another claw attack at you, mirroring its partner. That is going to not hit. That's 2. That's a 9.
No.
As with your shield already out to assist Jove, you bring it up and catch the claw, and you can feel it scrape against the shield. The wisp of graying, now turning black energy, trying to crawl over the top to touch your flesh. That moves us to Alder.
Beautiful. Quick question, by the way, DM. Would you say, since our last encounter, like about how much time has passed? Just because I remember I cast Protection from Evil and Good on Jove, but that lasts for only about 10 minutes, so I don't know if that
it's
would be off.
Been 10 minutes, that would still be on Jove, so I guess I need to re-roll that with disadvantage, Jove.
I mean, you're the DM.
Yeah, it's still up.
To you.
It's 10 minutes. That's more than fair. You cast it. Let me roll with disadvantage, Jove. And if it sticks, take the damage. If not, we'll call it a miss.
Gotcha.
That's an 18.
18 hits.
All right. The damage stays. However, Alder, I believe you're concentrating on the spell?
I am currently concentrating, yes. I've not that.
You are still wreathed in that red fire-like energy, Jove, as it tries to push back against it as this creature claws through. 1 part web, 1 part fire. It makes contact. All right, go ahead, Alder.
Alrighty. Okay, so... So they're both right on Jove and Virgil. Am I, like, in between them, or...?
You were behind Alder, or behind Jove and Virgil.
Okay, and I can't... I'm still frightened. I can't actually approach them,
You
correct?
are indeed still frightened.
Okay,
And actually, at the end of Jove's turn, could you roll a wisdom saving throw?
Yes. That is a 9.
That's not going to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, since he's not able to get closer, Alder will move... He'll move about 10 feet back and shift a little bit to the left, and we'll cast a firebolt on the one that is on Virgil right now.
Gotcha, let's see it.
That will not hit, Captain, for a 6.
That will certainly not. As you move back into the crowd, people begin shoving you, moving to the side, moving your aim as they push you to the side. It goes off, shooting towards the sky.
Alrighty. That's it for Alder. Oh, wait, I gotta roll wisdom save, right?
Yes.
That's for a 14?
A 14, that'll do.
Nice.
Alder no longer feared. Then the zombie attached to the one that attacked you, Jove, seeing another fresh new body, begins to crawl and bite at your ankles. That's going to be a 18 to hit.
Does he still have disadvantage with the
Yes.
protection for good and evil?
That drops it down to a 10.
10 misses.
As the energy pushes back against the face as its teeth lurch forward, breaking, sharding it to even more jagged pieces, trying to get to your flesh. It is then the crowd's turn as they begin a mad dash to scramble away. I need everybody to make me a dexterity saving throw.
Is this like to avoid being trampled?
This is to avoid being jostled as the crowd goes through. So yeah, I'd say this is to avoid being trampled.
Because if we're in the front and they're trying to run away,
Okay, I'll give it to you. Alder, though, will still need to
would
make
say,
that.
I would say I need to since I went backwards. And Alder will burn a charge of the Ring of Evasion to pass.
Once the crowd pushes past you, Alder, the ring allows your body to slide past as they brush off of you. All right, that's the crowd. It is then Virgil's turn.
I'm gonna try and swing the one in front of me.
Let's see it.
Hey, I rolled a number with 2 digits in it. It's 22 to hit.
22 will hit.
Is there any people still around? Are they like being grappled by the gnars?
You can see that the zombie attached to the one in front of you is currently gnawing on a fallen villager. Their eyes rolled back. Go ahead and roll me medicine.
17.
A 17. You can see that the villager already clutched in their grasp is in their death thralls. However, with a 17, you can see the young Grelin, their chest rising shallowly, still bleeding. And with these signs, you can see that the young man is still alive, if but barely. The rest of the villagers are, of course, behind you since they are fleeing.
Is he like grappled, or would he be able to move?
He is.
Let him?
The young man is currently prone.
Okay.
Seemingly unconscious. We would meta say he's probably rolling death saving throws.
Oh, so he wouldn't be able to do anything.
No, he is incapacitated.
Gotcha. Okay. In that case, I'm going to use my superiority die to attempt a disarming strike to literally disarm this being.
Okay, I'll give it to you. What do I need to roll?
Strength saving throw.
Strength saving. Okay, not bad. Let's see if I got it. Oh, that's a 7.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So I do my damage, and up to you as the DM what a disarming attack does on an undead.
Literally disarmed. The
Yeah.
arm gone.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how to get much more literal than to disarm.
You drive the war pike into the arm of this creature, and as you pull back, you rip its arm from its sockets, leaving it with only one usable arm.
Unfortunately, 2d8 plus 3 leaves me with 8 silvered piercing damage.
8 silver piercing as you rip the arm off this creature.
Done that. Yeah, I'm spent. So I will use a bonus action to then shove it back.
You got it.
So it needs to make another strength save.
That's going to be a 22 for strength.
Yeah, it'll stay.
You rip the arm back and try to shove it back. The arm comes loose, but the core of it stays.
Real quick, is the shove bonus action thing a Minotaur feat? Wow. They're out here playing Baldur's Gate. That's amazing.
I know, that's why I was confused a couple of sessions ago. I was like, wait. We're doing bonus action shoves? No, it's a Minotaur.
No, it's a Minotaur thing, alright? Minotaur special, it gets to keep the bonus action shove.
And I have to hit with a melee attack for it to actually be usable.
That's fair. That's fair, too. Yeah.
More than fair. Then, after Virgil's turn, is the zombie at the ankles of the one you just disarmed. It's going to try to make an attack on you, Virgil. Oh, no, that's not... Can't land on top of the other dice. It's gonna be a 19.
A 19 meets.
All right. As it's for minimum damage, that's gonna be 3 points of piercing as it bites into your shin.
How much?
3.
Okay.
Yeah. Back to the top. We're not sure what Eric's doing, so Jove.
Okay, DM. So I want to make a case for why I think the whip should have the light property, even though it doesn't have the light property. Because I mean, you think of lion tamers, right? They've got the whip in the chair. So would you let me do whip in one hand and then my spear in the other hand to do some spear and poke?
Yes, but
Quick
you
action?
have to use your dexterity for the whip. You can't use strength if you're going to use it as a light weapon.
I'm cool with that. Okay.
Okay, then yes, I will let you use the whip as a light weapon for your bonus action, using the 2-weapon fighting rules, but you have to use dexterity for it. You can't use strength.
Beautiful. And then, yes, because I don't think we actually talked about this, but with Jove's lycanthropy, like, I don't think it makes sense for him to rage without, like, going wolf mode, like, since that's tapping into the same energy source. Do you agree with that?
I would agree. Using the last vestiges of Akila's power to put you into that heightened mode. That energy source is gone, being replaced with your Wolven Curse.
Cool. All right, so then he is going to have Whip of Warning in his offhand, and he is going to have the Electrum Spear one-handed in the right hand. He's going to, he's going to focus both of these attacks on the big guy in front of him. So the first one with the spear, using my strength, is going to be a 24 to hit.
Yeah,
And I
that'll
did that
hit.
recklessly, by the way.
Heard.
Okay, so
Flat rolls on
that-
Jove.
So that is going to be for 4 piercing, and then I'll use my bonus action to do the offhand with my dex, which is going to be a 21.
A 21, that'll hit.
And that's going to be just a flat D4 because I don't have dual wielding for a minimum for 1.
All right. Yeah, you strike out whip and spear, piercing into its creature, but its undead constitution seems to shrug off the blows.
Cool. So at the end of his turn, he makes a wisdom save.
Indeed. Ooh, Virgil, would you make a wisdom saving throw since we got to the end of your turn?
Five. Dang.
Still frightened.
I did twice as good as you. I got a 10.
Still frightened.
God damn. My one
He did
weakness.
twice as good as me.
Wisdom saves.
That's multiplicative.
All right. Well, Jove is going to stand and deliver.
All right. The 2 large undead creatures are going to go. Virgil, you're receiving a bite as one of its arms is no longer attached. Jove, you're going to receive a claw. So for the
No. Maybe.
setting on that one, is that for?
Alright. Yeah.
Go for
Oh,
it.
that's attacking Jove. It has to be. Jesus Christ. 11.
That's not going to do.
Cool.
All right. So claw attack for Jove. That's a 9.
That's a miss.
Bite attack for Virgil. 22.
Yeah.
All right. Virgil, as it bites into your flesh, getting you right in the shoulder at eye level for you, you're going to take 10 points of piercing damage. As it rips a chunk out and begins to eat your own shoulder in front of you. Its eyes become slickened, almost red, as it leers down on you, the blood coursing over its chest. That takes us to Alder.
Okay. Oh, jeez. So
Aw, jeez.
Oh, jeez, man. I would assume then with something like that with the zombie, that it's basically, like, it's literally on Virgil, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Um, he is gonna keep his focus on this one that's going after Virgil. He'll come up closer, but keep like a little bit of a distance. So he'll like kind of come over. I'm imagining like kind of towards the left, uh, about 10 feet away from Virgil and the zombie, but kind of lined up still with them as he'll throw another firebolt at the zombie here.
Go for it.
And that is a 22.
That'll hit.
Indeed, indeed. Roll my dice. Where'd my D10 go?
Like, where'd my 10 go? Don PCP and cilantro. A nice young Rella reference.
Okay. There we go. That's only for 2 fire damage.
2 fire damage it is.
2 fire. No extra bonus attacks or actions for Alder.
Alright, that takes us to the zombie on Jove. Who's gonna try to bite at you? Just flat roll. Because you reckless. Nope, that's gonna only be a 10.
Yes.
Then, Alder, go ahead and make me a dexterity saving throw as the last of the crowd begins to leave.
Here. That is for a... That is just dex save. That's a 13.
13. That'll meet. That passes.
Woo.
As you are not knocked prone, as the last of the villagers begin making a run. However, you hear a voice cry out. Older, middle-aged by the sound of it, cries out for the young Vasile. Looking around, Alder, go ahead and make me a perception check.
Perception. That is a 13.
13. You look behind, and as people are running away from the scene, you see a middle-aged man, slight kind of gut to him, salt and pepper hair that you recognize as Mark Hugrelin, screaming towards the young man.
Screaming towards... Is it the young man that was being attacked?
Yes.
By the zombie? Gotcha.
All right. Moving down from them is Virgil. Oh, yeah. Nope, Virgil.
Okay. I'm gonna try and hit it.
Indeed. And I'll say Jove and Virgil, with your passive perceptions, you certainly hear and know the direction that cry for Vasile has come out from. So I believe you have 17 and 19 for perceptions, passive?
No, with my +5, I have a 16.
6, that's more than enough.
Oh wait, no, sorry, that was investigation. Perception is a 14.
Yep, that's enough.
21 to hit.
21, that'll hit.
9 silver piercing.
9 silver piercing. Yeah, you rip through another chunk, cleaving off half of the torso of this creature. As it stands in front of you, its body not registering the pain, you can see only a few more hits and its body physically shouldn't be able to hold up any longer.
I'll try and shove it, I guess. Strength save.
That's only a 10.
Yeah, I push it back.
It gets pushed back how many feet?
10 feet.
10 feet. And as you see, part of one of its legs breaks off as the zombie attached to it's frozen together from the ice and the snow, leaves part of its leg still attached to the hands of this other creature.
That's my turn. Actually, you know what? Let's no, take care of the threat first. I'm gonna stay here, and I'm gonna flank the one that's on Jove if I can.
You will take an attack of opportunity from the zombie, but you have the movement.
So there. Oh, because there was a second one there.
Uh-huh.
Okay, then no. I'll just
Gotcha.
step up.
Step up to the zombie. You got it. Which, funnily enough, it's its turn. It's going to try to bite you with the frozen leg of its companion still attached. Nope, that's an 11. So it cannot bite through. Virgil, go ahead and roll a wisdom saving throw.
Hey, 2.
2, still frightened. It's just still stuck in place. I guess that made that a moot point earlier. Back to Jove. So we don't know what Eric's doing.
All right. Jove is going to first take a poke with the spear. And keep rolling fucking 19. So that's a 24 for the first one.
That'll hit.
And that will be... ooh, nice. That will be for 7 piercing.
Gotcha.
We'll use the bonus action for the offhand whip. Using my dex. Oh my god, another 19. Which is going to be a 22.
That'll hit.
Oh, for max, for 4.
Gotcha. Yeah, you tear into this creature, sundering its, turning its torso into fillets of itself. It's getting close to its breaking point, but it still stands before you. No pain registering, no outcries as you dig into its flesh. Only the hungering gaze in its darkened eyes.
Jove's going to make the wisdom save at the end of his turn. That's a 14.
That'll pass.
Huzzah.
All right. One claw going to Jove. The creature you push back is going to move forward and re-engage with you, Virgil. And it's going to try to make another bite attack since it's still disarmed. For Jove, claw attack coming in. That's an 18.
Sentinel.
18 will hit.
All right, go ahead.
This time, I'm gonna hit maybe 14.
14, that'll hit.
Yeah, I did it. Look at that, Jove. I hit the dude.
Yay!
Go ahead and you
7
first.
silver piercing.
How do you want to do this?
Oh, nice. I'm going to shove the dude back, and since I can't move, I'm just gonna turn my complete focus onto the one in front of Jove, since it's close and on its last limbs, and I see it make an opening as it lunges forward to do a swipe, and I take that opening and I put my pick in it.
And from the top of the noggin down, shattering it from head down to tailbone. Like Chris Pine's illusion in the Dungeons and Dragons movie, you shove the head back into the torso. As its body falls to the ground, ripping one of the hands off of the zombies as it breaks apart. Well, that's that turn. I guess then now I go and make the bite against Virgil.
Yeah.
Since the damage doesn't go through because you destroyed it first.
Yep.
Nope, that's a 17.
Nope.
Alright. That takes us to Alder.
Okay.
There's a creature, a big creature in front of Virgil, a zombie to his side, and then one zombie by Jove. By Jove.
Wait, so there's a big creature
In front of Virgil.
in front of Virgil, a zombie to his side, he said.
Indeed.
And
And
then there's another, was it to the side or in front of Jove?
To the side of Jove.
Gotcha. Okay. probably can't do this in a way that will line it up, but I'm not feeling great about this big creature, so we are gonna go ahead and do. I think he'll shift a little bit up or to the left here, and he'll go ahead and use another Agnazar Scorcher.
Indeed. I will say you do have the lineup to where you could get the zombie and the larger undead creature.
Now if I did that though, would I be getting either Virgil or the person that was attacked, Basil, in that line, or no?
No.
No? Okay, then I will trust you on that, and I will adjust it so. So I need them both to make dex saves, please.
The zombie rolls an 8. The larger undead creature rolls an at 20.
Okay, so obviously saves on that one. So that is, I believe, 3d8. Yes. Okay, so that is, let's see, 9. That is for 14 fire damage total, or 7 for the one that's saved.
14? 7?
Again, as
How do you want to do this on the large one?
ooh, it's. I imagine again, it's that same sensation you kind of talked about before, where it's like that fiery skull visage kind of overcomes Alder. And this time, like as the flame kind of comes out again, it starts as that red flame, but it turns into like almost kind of like a ghastly like ice kind of blue as it tears through the snow, and it's almost like the snow shoots up over it, and whatever was there of that large creature, it might as well just be dust with that snow. It's almost as if it is in this little pocket. Snow has begun to fall as it just completely vaporizes it along with those flames being shot.
In a cloud of steam, once there was a large undead creature standing in front of Virgil. Now there is the ashen remains, as the steam and the ash mix together, forming this sickly gray cloud that blows into the Valduva's trading post. Oh, that's that creature. Anything else from me, Alder?
Uh he'll because there's still the one that's on Virgil, right? Or is that the one that just got hit?
There's
Yeah.
a zombie on Virgil and a zombie on Jove.
Okay. He'll still keep like the 5 foot distance between him and that, but he's still nearby and focused on the one that's on Virgil, readying himself for another blow next time.
Gotcha. Well then, we move to the zombie on Jove. It rolls with disadvantage.
It's going to be flat because I reckless last turn.
All right, flat it is. I'll roll again. That's nat 20.
Nice.
Jove, you take 13 points of piercing damage as it rips into your thigh on the outside, taking a huge chunk of your thigh out. And you see it chew and begin to swallow your own flesh. Then goes to Virgil.
My turn.
See.
Okay.
Tuyo.
So it's just the zombie on me.
Zombie on you, and then one on Jove.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm still frightened, so I'm gonna stand still and smack the one in front of me.
See it.
13.
That'll hit.
6 silver piercing.
You rip into this zombie. Its head snapping to the right, stuck onto its shoulder. You see it ice over and reattach, and at an awful 90-degree angle, the jaw opens and closes, on the verge of being defeated, but its undead constitution holds it in place.
On the Virgil of being defeated.
Yeah.
-1.
I wanted it.
And that's
Give me
why I
minus
didn't
one.
say it.
No.
All right. Virgil, go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw. Unless you'd like to move.
This one's gonna be it.
Let's see it.
How about a nat 1?
Yeah, I'll still do. As that scream still racks your heart as you keep
I might
clawing
be
into
hurt.
these creatures, and they keep refusing to go down.
I guess I can move away. So once the fight's over, then I'll start moving away.
You know what? If I can, I'll do you a favor here, Virgil. I'm gonna roll you a 17 with my portent, if the DM allows.
No,
I do.
No. That's not worth the portent.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm not trying to get anywhere, and I'm not attacking the thing that I'm frightened by. So
Okay.
Heard.
Okay.
I'll save eventually. And right now, I'm just passively doing it. So
I'll give you another turn. Okay.
The zombie's gonna make a bite on Verge. No, that's an 18.
no.
Alright, back to Jove.
Yeah, after that last bite, you hear Jove kind of reel back in pain and screams, kind of grunts out. But he keeps his cool for now. And is this zombie like crawling like prone, or is it up on its feet as well?
It's up on its feet.
Gotcha. Okay, so he's going to do a poke with the spear recklessly. That's a 16.
That'll hit.
So that will be for 5 piercing.
Gotcha.
And then bonus action to whip it right in the face.
Whip it good.
And God, that's going to be a
Good shape.
23.
That'll hit.
Give a pass and slam.
That's going to be for 1 damage.
That whip.
Gotcha. Alright.
No, whip it.
Jove to Alder.
Let's try another firebolt on the one that's on Virgil.
See it?
Alright. Ooh, that's a nat 20.
Nice.
I'll just stop you right there. How do you want to do this?
Oh.
Nat 20 beats the undead fortitude. I can't even roll in it. Go for it.
Is this thing currently like on you then right now, Virgil, still, or had you shoved it over?
It is attempting to get on him.
Yeah.
It is attempting to get on him.
It has to hit me first.
You see, as it is coming close, super narrow. For a second you think, oh my goodness, he's about to hit me again. This thing roars across almost in front of your face and sears off the front of the zombies. Just threading the needle. Headshot right on the face, sears it completely off.
You see it, its head already cocked and frozen to the side, just immediately disintegrates as the torso and the rest of the body hit the snow. Any movement from you, Alder?
He'll move up towards Virgil and be at his side.
Gotcha. Send the zombie on Jove. It's gonna attack. It's gonna be flat because you're reckless, but have protection from good and evil. That's only a 12.
That misses.
All right. It is then Virgil.
Wait. Can I get an angle on the one next to Jove without moving? Because I can't.
With a melee attack, no.
Okay. Then I will retreat to. Can I see what's the dude's name?
Marku
Sorry.
or Vissel.
Vissel.
You can indeed.
Is he the one that was like dying?
Yes.
Was he the one that was like already pretty dead, or the one that was like almost dead?
The one that you saw Eric like rip the soul out of. He is still breathing, unlike the other villager who was mostly consumed at the start of this fight.
He's not completely dead. He's mostly dead.
Indeed, that is your professional opinion, is that he's mostly dead.
Go check his pockets.
Fairly.
I'll go
Fairly, but
get
not
some bellows. Yeah, I'll go over to him and try my best to stabilize him. Or I guess I'll check to see if he's stable himself yet.
Go ahead and roll a medicine check.
3.
A 3. He does not look stable in the slightest.
Then can I do another medicine to try and stabilize him?
Indeed.
With my whole action. 7.
7. Looking at his wounds, it's not the physical wounds here. It's magical components. He needs a real healer. Battle. What do I say? Field dressing is not going to do it. That's not the root cause of this.
Yeah.
Anything else for me on your turn?
No.
As you
Let's
go
see
to.
if I do it. 10? No, that doesn't do it.
Nah, not quite. We'll switch it on over. That's Verge. Back to the top of Jove.
Yeah, he is going to first do the bonus action to do the whip and see if he can whip this zombie to death. We'll do so in a reckless manner. That is going to be for an 18.
That'll hit.
That gets us 3 slashing.
Ja.
Just imagining a barbarian recklessly whipping.
Yeah, literally.
It's just
I
kind of
just think he's-
swinging it, you know?
Yeah.
My biggest is like I think he's like not giving a shit of like accidentally whipping himself, you know? 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
easy to do with the whip, so he is just fucking he's letting it go. If the thing is still alive and biting, he'll
Very
go
much
ahead and
so.
use his action to poke it with the spear this time. Oh my god, this is like I've rolled so many 19s. That's a 24.
Man, that must suck.
That'll
It
hit.
really fucking does. And that is going to be for 4 piercing.
Should've
Well,
gone
Pearson, you
champion
got
there.
it. Yeah, you dig into this Jove, and although each of your hits are landing, as you cleave the flesh off of it, as you pierce through, without a single expression of stimulus, it simply bears down on you, trying once again to take another bite out of your flesh.
And just because he can, he will position himself strafing if he needs to. So Alder has a good shot on this and is not standing in the way. So if he needs to reposition himself so his allies can get a better angle on this fella, he will do so. And it's turn.
You do so. Alder, your move.
All right, let's try a firebolt on this one. That's another 6, so that will not hit.
Does not. Turns it to the Zom's turn, unless you have any movement.
Nope. Jove was quite generous, so no movement.
That's not going to hit. That's only a 6 on the attack, so we go to Virgil.
I will try and track down the voice that was calling out for Vissel.
Go ahead and make a perception check.
12.
You can see running towards you, probably about 60 or so feet out, Mark Ugrelin running towards the young man. Panic, fear, in the beginning of tears welling into his eyes.
Can I make it to him with movement?
If you dash towards him, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll dash towards him, and I think I'm just going to get myself in the way, and just try and hold him back and keep him out of danger. Which I guess I will sheath my weapon so I can if he tries to run past me, use my opportunity attack to trip him or something.
Okie dokie. Since his is right after yours, go ahead and make the attempt. As he cries out, "Vasil, nephew, no!" Trying to get towards the fallen man.
Oh, 23. This is where I roll high.
Yeah, you reach out and you're able to catch him by the foot and trip him. Gracefully is probably the word to use, so that he falls, but without, taking any damage.
Okay. Yeah, so. And then Sentinel means that he can't use the rest of his movement becomes 0, so he can't even stand himself back up.
No, he cannot. That takes us back to the top with Jove. Wait, go ahead and roll that wisdom.
Wait. 13?
No.
Okay.
No.
Oh man.
Wait,
One of these
13?
years?
13
Yeah.
does it. That'll do.
Okay.
Oh hey.
Hey, we did it. It only took like 8 turns, but
Right.
Joverino.
where there's no more fear, get used to it.
That's how
Here,
that goes,
like a
yeah.
That's how
fear.
that goes. It's not appropriation.
Jove will use his bonus action to move the whip over his head and strike down across his body. We'll do so recklessly. That will be for a 21.
That'll hit.
For 1 damage, 1 slash.
Okie dokie.
He will immediately follow up that kind of like crack to its face with a shot to the body with the spear. Come on, another 19. That's going to be 24. And that is for 4 piercing.
You drive deeper and deeper into this undead creature, yet it does not relent. Which then,
And yep, that's all, Jeff.
Alder.
Let's burn this boy. Another firebolt. Oh, that's a 7 this time.
Not gonna do.
Sorry, Joe. Sorry, Joe. I did my main thing with the protection
did.
for you, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm giving you as many chances.
Job,
As
does
I
a
can.
17 hit?
17 indeed hits.
As you take another, as it bites into your leg once more, another 5 points of piercing. As this creature continues to try to consume you, Jove. Virgil.
Yeah, I'm going to just try and intimidate him without using an action. And just say, "You stay here."
Go ahead and roll me an intimidation on.
Oh. Oh, worm? 23.
See if those words ring true. Yep. He looks to you and then back to him, stuck between his fear of what has happened to his nephew, but then his fear of you, frozen in place in indecision.
And then I'll just use my action to dash back into the combat. How close do I get with that?
You got the 60 feet, so you'd be back right where you started.
Nice. Then I'm able to use my bonus action to do a goring rush, because I used the dash action on my turn to move 20 feet. So
Yeah,
I
you
can use
did.
my horns as a bonus action.
Beautiful.
Strength
That's
saving
the
throw?
move.
No, this is an attack, because I dashed. Yeah. It basically makes it so that if you have to dash to your target, you can still get an attack off. And you're just using the speed as if you're a charging bull and just piercing with your horns. It's a
Minotaur
16
stuff.
to hit.
That'll hit.
1d6 plus 3. 8 piercing.
How do you want to do this?
Nice.
Hey.
So I charge at the cabin and just seeing Jove still taking hits from this thing that I was trying to protect him from, but ultimately had to give in to the fear. But now the fear is gone. I'm charging in, and I'm able to just bend down and scoop this thing up off the ground, throw it into the cabin with my goring rush, and it just splats against the cabin. And I'm just there huffing and puffing next to Jove, who I assume is doing the same.
Yeah.
It splats as dark, long, dead blood spreads out over the cavern, sticking and freezing to parts of it, clawing its way down the boards. And with that, we are out of initiative.
Yay!
All right, as we get back to it, let's take a quick 10-minute break. Bathroom, bevies, all that kind of good stuff. We will return. And we're back. As the screams dissipate into the dark Barovian night, the battlefield now laying still. A number of dead villagers, unfortunate enough to be caught in the opening foray of these undead creatures, lay at your sides. Marku Grelin still stuck between fear of his nephew and the intimidation of Virgil, as you all gather together in the aftermath of this fight. The young Vasile, his chest still breathing shallow, although getting weaker and weaker as the moments pass. What would you like to do, party? The door to the cabin, I will say, or to the Valduva trading post is still shut.
Jove will try his hand at stabilizing the young man.
Go ahead and roll medicine.
That's a 14.
14. Looking through, you come to the same conclusion as Virgil. While the wounds from his neck and chest are not particularly life-threatening, whatever was done, that inhale of his essence, is what is putting him in danger. He needs a real healer.
Do you have some kind of clerics or paladins, some kind of magical healers in town?
No one like that, but Glovia Valacinio, she has returned. She's at the hospice. Perhaps she could help.
Take him there, and I'll pick him up on my shoulder and just like sling him over his shoulder.
Oh, and like, as the young man that he is, and the strength that you currently possess, like picking up a child.
Yeah.
Marku begins to hurriedly direct you towards the city of Orsnu. And hey, this is a great time. Why don't we click on over to maps? And here is a more updated Village of Orsnu map from later in the modules, with the correct numbers on most of this. We can see the 7 tables. Next to it, of course, the Hare and the Hare. The hospice across from these buildings, it's number 2. Village Square, number 3.
Okay.
The Burgomaster residence, right where we thought it would be. A jailhouse at number 5, wherever that happens to be. Yep, way over in the back.
Jailhouse, yeah. Okay.
Oh, I see it now.
A little stone path.
Uh-huh. So, sorry, audience. Here's 7 tables, Hare and the Hare, hospice is right there. Burgomaster's, Village Center, right there. The jailhouse over here. The Eyes of Midnight being that little tiny shack that we saw on our last, on our other map. The Valduva trading post being down here towards the southern part where it says to Barovia. And last but not least, the Falanescu Manor, way out over there, number 7, far from the rest of the city.
So we're taking the trek on that road back. 'Cause
Yes.
We were at the trading post.
You were indeed. Go ahead, everybody, make me a Constitution saving throw as we head back towards the city, the village.
And to be clear, we didn't kill Eric, right?
No,
No,
Eric.
he went inside, and we have not investigated further. And honestly, I would advise against us investigating further right now, because I don't know about y'all, but I am tapped.
Yeah, same. So, Bob's
Um,
at 22 for Jeff.
20.
Alder will not go in without his boys there, and that is another nat 20.
Jesus.
You all.
I will remember this day when I roll the nat ones again. You know.
You all hurriedly make your way towards the village. The cold and the snow, the exhaustion from the day, not hindering you as you blaze forward with purpose. Heading towards the hospice, you see it is a squat brick building with a high-peaked roof. as you're approaching, you can see as you pass by kind of the outskirts of the village, you can see the town is in kind of a frenzy as some villagers head back to their homes and begin boarding everything up in defense. Others are running from area to area, alerting neighbors, telling those on the streets of the events. Some are madly dashing, trying to get as far away as possible, stumbling through the snow and the frozen paths. As you approach, you see a woman, probably in her late 40s or so. Her hair still a kind of a light brown, yet to take the colors of older age into it. And a younger girl, her hair a dark brown, pulled back, both of them in simple but clean clothes. You could see kind of that kind of old-timey Victorian care worker garb, if you will, complete with kind of like the headpieces as well. They run forward, as you can hear, our Marku yelling out for Glovia. The older woman responds, inside. Serena will direct you to where to set him. As the young girl runs up to you, Virgil, and begins pulling you along, guiding you into the small building. There is, you can see simple bed set up, a number of the kind of strong smell of medicinal herbs reaches your nostrils, as well as the smells of both sickness and death. It's kind of this thick, cloying kind of scent as they all kind of mingle together with the ever kind of fatty, graying smoke of various candles being lit this kind of late into the evening. There is a bed set up for the young man, and as the young girl guides you into it, you set his body down onto the bed. The woman begins examining the wounds, pointing things out to the young girl, guiding her, giving her both advice and direction as they begin addressing the physical wounds, checking for various poisons. Go ahead and everybody roll me a medicine check. As you want, which you can assume to be Glovia, get to work on the young man.
11.
18.
There's the crit fail.
18, you said, Jove?
14.
14. As you watch her get to work, it becomes abundantly clear that she has a deep understanding of anatomy. The way that she moves the bodies, administers care. There is a gentleness to it that implies a deep understanding, practiced movements, and with a speed that belays many years of practical experience. However, she seems strangely perplexed at some of the wounds. Go ahead and everyone make an insight check. As a strange kind of, you're not sure if it's realization, shock, or dismay washes over as she inspects his chest.
9.
21.
12.
Alder, Joe, Virgil, you're preoccupied, more kind of focusing on keeping, Marku kind of away from his nephew. He frets about him, concern, fat tears welling up in his eyes as his, thickened body tries to be helpful, but keeps just kind of getting in the way. The young girl has to sidestep him at different points in the kind of the addressing. However, Alder, as you watch Glovia get to work, you can't help to notice a nervousness to her. And from your experience, it's not from the wounds themselves. Something else begins to eat at her, as she shows a sign of recognition over these wounds. You're not entirely sure what she recognizes, but a knowing look dashes across her face before she recalms it and focuses back in on the task at hand.
Alder keeps that noted right now, but allows her to continue working.
She calls to the young girl, who goes over and receives a set of herbs and other components. Alder, you're able to immediately recognize some of these. While the herbs appear different, they're unmistakably arcane components. And as Glovia mixes them together, stamps them with a mortar and pestle before she spreads the kind of paste over her mouth. She utters a word, and wispy gray tendrils kind of fall down and enter into the young man's mouth. He and breathes deeply. He seems to be stabilized for the moment. The woman wipes the paste from her mouth, cleans her hand in a small bowl, and turns to you all and say, "What has happened to the young man? What befell such an awful curse?"
I'm sure you heard about Eric. Seems that he ripped the soul or something out of this boy's body.
Eric, the outsider. The one with the wolfskin cap.
Seems that he's undead. No doubt about it. Seems to command the undeath of others. He himself ripped what looked like to be a life force or something out of this poor boy and beset other undead against the crowd that had gathered around the old Valduva's place out there. Whatever it did, it worked quickly, and the poor boy has been, looks like he's been fighting this for his life ever since.
At the mention of Eric and these dark powers, you see kind of a steeliness go across her face. Life after death. Most unholy abomination. I thank you all for bringing him to me. If you had waited any longer, I'm not sure he would have made it through the night. His very soul had been pulled from him as you described. Had just his physical wounds been mended, likely he would have died a quiet death. So thank you. I'm Glovia Falicinu. Pleasure to meet you.
Shove his soul back into his body? Because we don't have his soul.
No. I am not a one to dabble with the divine. I simply used my knowledge with anatomy to stretch out what was left, to imbue some arcane back into him. He will survive. However, he may not be as present as he once was.
You're taking what's left and spreading it out, and you're saying that because of that it might get diluted.
It's his the best of my abilities at this time. Whether or not he makes a full recovery will depend on his strength of self.
Well, you certainly seem quite prepared for an affliction such as this. Is what happened to our friend here fairly common or something to keep an eye out?
Barovia is an incredibly dangerous place. One that requires constant looking after. I have spent many years studying, practicing the art of healing, fixing what is broken, and dealing with what cannot. I'm no stranger at losing who you care most about. And her gaze, that kind of steeliness, breaks. A long, drawn-out exhale leaves her. The signs of a deeply rooted pain, a deeply rooted loss, and a need, a compulsion to fix what has been broken in her life. As her eyes move over to the young man, his breathing becoming more steady, albeit still shallow, she straightens part of kind of her attire for composing herself once more. I don't recognize you all. You were certainly not here when I departed. May I inquire who you are?
I'm Virgil van Dyke. I don't really have any titles that would mean anything to you, but notable town guard, we'll say that.
And I'm Jove. It's a pleasure to meet you. Gregory was nice enough to give us a little bit of a hand getting to know the fine folks of this village of Orsnow. So, pleasure to make your acquaintance as well. And he'll offer up his meaty paw for a halfling.
She takes it, and from Joe, from your kind of time in Mole Master, you can tell that this is clearly the hands, whilst practiced, it is not overly calloused, worn, or scarred. This is the hand of a noble. Clean, soft, and pristine.
And I am Alder Chiskian. I'm somewhat of a scholar, although I'm less familiar with this area that we're in right now.
It is a pleasure to meet you. This is, of course, my assistant, Serena. And the young girl does a kind of a small curtsy. Awkward and unbalanced as somebody not raised in nobility would imitate. Glovia looks over Virgil and Aldern. I must inquire, what curse besets you that you are in such an appearance? You speak like men, but there are many who would call you monsters.
No, I've heard outsider, but I haven't heard being called a monster yet. Well, I mean, aside from the races.
Out of fear, they probably would not say it to your face, but a large man with horns and the face that is not quite human. I know these villagers well. I know what rides in their hearts.
since you ask kindly. For what it's worth, I've actually been cursed with multiple appearances over my time, but this one here, you could say, has been touched by fire, essentially. Fire itself, the element itself. It's touched and runs through my body. Best way I could put it.
Is this naturally occurring, or is this a byproduct of your curse? She takes one of your hands, kind of looks it over, begins kind of tapping at the various muscular structure, hitting you kind of in your pressure points as you feel your wrist twitch, your fingers curl.
Well, I mean, I can use fire the same way I feel like I can eat and breathe. At this point, it's just a part of who I am.
And you said you have changed forms multiple times. Was it due to extreme trauma? To an arcane component? Is it naturally occurring to one such as yourself, as her mind goes over the possibilities of your strange state?
I'd say the arcane component, specifically arcane components that went a bit haywire. Let's say they were far out of anyone's control at the time.
An accident. Does your affliction hurt?
It seems to hurt other people more than it hurts me, if I'm being honest.
And then she kind of moves from you over to you, Virgil, and begins kind of walking around. And you, is this your natural state? Or are you too transformed?
I can honestly say the only thing I'm plagued with is a case of coming out of retirement for one last job and getting stuck in said job.
You all not from Barovia, are you? Your accents, the comfortability of you and your skin, the oddness of your various structures.
Yeah, I did assume that was a rhetorical question.
Would that be a problem with someone as nice as yourself?
No, it matters not to me. You've already shown that you care marginally more than the average Orsnoon. I have no qualms. Only thanks. Why, do I have any... Should I be concerned? You all speak pleasantly enough. And should you have wanted harm, I would have assumed you would have left this young man to rot.
Well, I can assure you that the only people that should have any fear of us surrounding you are the people who wish to do you harm.
Well, then that is a boon. Well, it has been a abject pleasure to meet the three of you. Virgil, Alder, and Jove. Should you require any mending or care, the hospice is open to you. Please, of course, reach out to Serena. She will guide you in if I am otherwise indisposed. Marku, if you would like, you may stay. I would like to watch over your nephew, at least for the evening being. If he continues to stabilize, we may move him back to the Seven Tables Inn. And Marku kind of blubbers out a thank you as he kind of holds his nephew's hand. Serena, would you go fetch his wife? And she nods, waves to you all with kind of a light wave before she heads out into the streets towards the Seven Tables Inn.
feel like Jove wouldn't want to intrude anymore with Marku and his nephew, and kind of be looking to the boys, and trying to signal that maybe we should make our leave as well.
Alder will kind of take the head on that and say, "Well, we appreciate the pleasantries, Glovia. I'm sure if I have any questions or if I'm beat up, I'll come and talk with you again."
And Alder, go ahead and roll Arcana. After kind of mulling over the magic that she employed.
Let's see, you said Arcana, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's for a 9.
A 9. You're unfamiliar with this type of spell casting. Typically, it acts like a healing word. However, there doesn't appear to be a divine component to it. All the spellcasters you've seen, such as Father Gideon with the Kalimverites, would be using some sort of divine spark. Healing magic, in kind of a arcane way, is less common. Typically something that only clerics and those of divine favor would employ. There's not really while the study of anatomy is very prevalent in wizard circles, healing magic is a very difficult magic for those of arcane nature to accomplish.
The same way that Glovia was just like sort of like Deku style muttering to herself about what was going on with Alder, he's like doing it right back to himself. Like he's just like, she's using Arcana. Well, is this abjuration? No, that can't. Well, is she there's no one. And like, it's mirrored essentially. They're both intrigued by each other.
Like evocation, no. Divination, no. Abjuration, suppose, but that wouldn't make much sense here. You're like conjuration, conjure what? Enchantment, perhaps. It's just healing magic doesn't fall cleanly into any of like the 7 or 8 recognized schools of wizardry, making it even more peculiar.
Jove, without saying a word, would do just like a slight nod towards Glovia, not like a full on bow, but he's spent enough time with nobles to kind of be able to sniff that out. More of kind of a respectful head nod before he kind of goes and puts a light hand on Marku before making his way for the door to get out of here.
You nod, and she receives and sends a kind of a curt nod back towards you before going back to the bedside of Vasile. Barring anything else, you all exit out the 7 inns and the Hare and the Hare simply across the street. You can see Serena entering into the 7 tables, the candlelights kind of spilling out for the moment. It is well into the evening. There's still an abundance of snow, cold and wind that rustles through the village. You can still hear kind of the hurried movements of various villagers as the city kind of shuts down and locks up for the evening. What would you like to do?
Well, fellas,
Oh, go for it.
I took quite the beating today. I think I might need to roll back to Gregory's and call this one a night. I know we still got that Eric fella out there. That's the problem that's not going to need to be solved, but I think I need rest.
Well, don't let me stop you on that one. I didn't take nearly as much of a licking as you did. So, and you guys were pretty accommodating of me. So, you gotta turn and go ahead. I might grab me a drink or something to wind down.
Yeah, I certainly don't see myself being in a position to take on anything that threatening.
Yeah, I'm certainly not gonna go back out there on my own without you guys.
Well,
Definitely, but fellas, now that we're just us, I noticed something while we were fighting, and I'm 100% sure that that is Laszlo. That's a reanimated, what was Laszlo. I've got that torn up piece of paper that I scurried out of their old den. So maybe back at Gregory's, we can recoup, rest, see what there is to learn off of those pieces, and see what's next. But
Wait, you
yeah,
think
what
that Eric fellow was Laszlo, or?
he had the same wound pattern as Laszlo's body that we saw out when we found Alvina, and we already know that the dead don't stay dead out there. And perhaps when we stayed the night in that cave, what was Laszlo found himself living again and made his way back in town. He seems to have his wits about him more than those iced over fellas that tried to trick us in the first place. We had to put him back down again. But from the way that Glovia was talking, it sounds like she's familiar with this kind of unholy magic, as she called it.
Yes. Well, and
why
if we
would
do,
he? Why would he be buying all that stuff from the? What was it, Eyes of Midnight?
Could be as simple as a cinch of vengeance. I mean, his wife had a condition that they had to hide and live on the outskirts of town, go out and hunt for these people that would kill them if they knew what they really were. I just don't think that it's completely out of the question that somebody raised from the dead might have some of those negative attributes about themselves amplified. Laszlo, Eric, whatever you want to say it, maybe he has a bone to pick with this force now.
That's not funny.
In character, that's not funny. Out of character, that's fucking hilarious.
That's pretty funny.
That was pretty good. I would have missed it. All right, +1.
Yeah.
Hey, we got it
Combo.
back. Yeah. Now, that said, if we do assume that this is Laszlo in some shape or form, things do start to make a little bit more sense, right? Why he's camping out there in the Valduva trading post. That's his home, as far as he cares.
Had a dress, locket of hair, the wedding ring. Who knows? Maybe this letter is a love letter or something. I just don't think that if he was bent on revenge, that if he was trying to focus that towards Alvina, well, what sense does it make to come back to Doors now? But maybe expecting her to come back, but he knew her condition.
I mean, ask yourself. You're in his shoes. Find out that your wife is a Lycan and, you, well, killed by her in that sense. What do you do when you come back to the land of the living? I'm wonder if he even knows himself what he's doing in some sense.
I think that's more likely. I think that it's probably mindless more than anything. It's probably just him trying to hold on to what the world is and his instinct is just saying get stuff.
That's all he knows, right? Running a trading outpost.
Yeah.
It's what little he has left of that life, I would imagine.
Speaking of the dead not staying dead, what what do you think the chances are that something happened to us when we were attacked by that shadowy creature, and that's why we find ourselves here?
You asking if we're dead too?
Uh, in a more subtle way, but yes.
I mean, that's what I was thinking coming right out the gate. But
I feel alive, but I imagine so does Eric.
the big question is if Eric knows he's Laszlo or not. I still remember all of my old life before here, before all this.
That's true.
If he is truly just animated on a sense of vengeance, stripped from the personality and just the feeling and drive itself, well, I think that would be a different case than all of us. But Virgil, I don't think that's off the table if you're asking me. I don't think we can get very far thinking that we're all dead. But let's just say if somebody came and told me that we were already dead,
It would be more of an aw shucks than a world-shattering moment.
That reminds me. Something that continues to bother me. Back when we first got here, back when I changed, did any of you see anything like my other form or something? Because I've still got all my memories, but obviously I'm not what you guys saw when we first met. I've reverted back to,
When I first met you.
yeah, basically like step one for me again in a way. That I don't want to say we're dead, but that doesn't make me feel great per se.
At this point in time, I can honestly say the only thing I remember is trying to come up with a way out of the fight with the demon, I'll call it. And then the next thing I knew, it was engulfing me, and then I was with y'all here.
I saw some unsettling visages when we crossed over. The death of Aquila. Like you, Walder, I feel as if I had lost something, a part of me. Even if that was changed from my normal state. I think in the same way, well, barring my new condition, when we first crossed over, felt like a resetting of myself before I knew Aquila and was charged with her powers. So I didn't see nothing about your form falling away, but I did see things on the way over to this Barovia, unsettling things.
And it was just me that you saw.
I didn't see you in any of my visions. I only saw myself and Aquila. But no doubt you are changed.
Well, yeah, beyond a shadow of doubt on that one. I just. It's just strange. I don't. Part of me doesn't feel dead. I want. You could almost explain it as the old, that part of me is died and I'm reborn as this new one, but there's just something about the nature of it that doesn't quite add up. I don't know what it is. I certainly don't feel dead. You gentlemen all seem to think the same thing about yourselves. But something is gone. I think that much is certain for all of us.
All I know is that Glovia was the first one to seem undisturbed or unsurprised that we were from somewhere else beyond Barovia. Virgil, I know you were saying earlier today about trying to figure our way out of here. I think it's going to be making more connections with folks like Glovia. Might find us a way out of this sad place. Her hands were soft to the touch, even for a healer. Perhaps she is more traveled and knowledgeable than some of the others in this village. I think she might be useful to talk to beyond just what ails us.
Yeah, we're certainly losing our status as outsiders.
And I think while we're all talking, I'll have you know that what what you saw earlier with that bear. I know it may have seemed uncontrolled, but I held the reins in my hands, and whatever this lycanthropy that now afflicts me, it's going to be a burden on all of us. I just don't think there's any way to sidestep around this. So it's going to be a burden. I want to be able to use it in a way that can also be to our benefit. What we saw earlier is but one way. I believe that it can be used for our benefit. It requires me to let go a little bit. But you also saw me get gnawed nearly to death by the undead and keep my form as you all have known it. I felt the pull to let the wolf out. And as you see me now, which Jove has 3 HP, so he looks like shit, could have probably been easier had I let that wolf come out, but I knew that that was going to jeopardize not only myself, but our standing here in the village. I'm not asking you to not be vigilant, but I want to inform you that I plan to use what has happened to me, by extension, what has happened to us, in ways that will benefit us if time is right and only the right people are around.
Well, well, Joe, I'll be honest with you. Uh, I got no qualms with it as long as you're aiming that form of yours at someone other than me. Do whatever you got to your heart's content, as long as you're dealing with whatever's on the other side of what we're facing, right? Now, that said, understand, you were looking at me like I was food. If you ever did come at me, you're gonna lose some hairs, so to say. Gonna burn a few hairs off of that form of yours. Hope you understand, and I would hope you would do the same thing to me. And if the roles were reversed, so to speak.
Absolutely. And in fact, that's an expectation. And I hate to lay this at your feet, but Virgil, Alder, if there was a time in which I lost control, I would hope that you would put me down if that meant not only saving yourselves, of course, but saving innocents that don't have any reason to be caught up in my personal problems. I have no death wish, mind you, but I feel like if there's anybody that's going to be able to contain me, As he gives a little flex. It's going to be these two folks right here.
Well, honestly, I think Virgil's really the one strong enough to actually contain you. I'm just going to be using a lot of fire on. Really don't try to cross me there.
Potato, potato, my friend.
You would notice that Virgil stays quiet whenever you talk about stuff like this. And you notice him visibly just uncomfortable. But he does speak up and he says, "You will die."
Well, there you go. Stay in control so we don't have to take control. Sounds great to me, right, guys?
Jove kind of laughs, and he'll give kind of just like an open palm slap onto what I can imagine is going to be like his, like Virgil's thigh. It's whatever is just kind of like arm length. You know, he's not going to be reaching up high. Whatever is at about 311 or so. Boom, smack in, kind of give a little bit of a laugh with that answer, and also clocking that you're feeling a little uncomfortable. And he'll say, "Well, does our next steps involve a drink before we go to bed? I know I said when I was tired, but maybe we can lay out these pieces of paper and try to decipher a little bit, so we at least know what's coming in the morning."
I'll drink.
We're drinking right now?
And Jove has already started walking towards the Hare and the Hare.
The three of you all begin heading towards the Hare and the Hare. As you get towards the door, you can see Serena guiding a middle-aged woman, her hair pulled back in kind of a tight bun, apron on, still kind of covered in various baking bits and the likes, guiding Karina Grellin over to the hospice. As you enter in, you see Gregory, his back up against kind of one wall, a dusty is the best word to describe. A dusty looking kind of long sword in an arm, kind of leaned up against the shoulder in both hands. Not in a particularly good defensive stance, as if, but at least in a guise to protect himself. And as you all enter in, he kind of raises it up, height and lead for a second before going, "Oh, my friends, I didn't think I would ever see you again. After you didn't appear for 2 days, I thought it was just free ravens."
Nothing's free in this life, Gregory.
Well, I'm...
But don't you hurt yourself with that sword. I know everybody's spooked right now. We're trying to figure out what exactly is going on, and I don't think having you armed to the T right now is going to be what gets us there.
Yes, sword that's been with the family for a very long time, but I have no business in actually using. And he goes and places it back kind of above the bar in its hanging place. You can see where he's gripped it and placed it back up, especially along the blade, leaves kind of dust fingerprints in it, as if to...
I'll approach him and get real close. I'll be like, "Were you with the mob tonight?"
No. I have no business leaving the shop unattended, much less to join in that kind of barbary.
No, you certainly don't. I'm gonna roll insight,
Go for it.
and then I'll turn away. As a 9.
A 9. Seems honest to you. The dust left on kind of the blade implies to you that Gregory is probably a storyteller, but not much of a fighter.
Mhm.
Well, Ed, I believe you perhaps have a story to tell me in exchange for setting up the rooms, perhaps something to drink?
Well, I think we're still trying to figure out that story right now.
Ah, so a big drink. Got it.
Joe's going to go into his bag and start pulling out these pieces of paper and see if he can get them all out there and start matching them so they are legible.
Alright, go ahead and let's make this one. Let's put together from memory on here. Let's make this an investigation as you're trying to piece together this piece of paper.
Would anybody perhaps be helping me while I do this?
Sure, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You all kind of stand behind Jove, both of you easily able to look over his shoulders and start piecing together this kind of puzzle.
With the help, that gives me an 18.
An 18. Um, it takes you some time to put it all together. The script is elegant in cursive and at times misleading. Gregory turns and puts kind of three large cups of what appear to be smell like some sort of cider, sour, overly spiced. Probably about room temperature. Um, After the better part of one going on a second full cup of that reaches your lips, you're able to piece together the letter, and it reads. Why don't I just go ahead and copy that? Go into lore. Bring this to me without alerting anyone. Do this in secret. Fail me, and your torment shall be legendary. Please me, and I shall mark your contract as complete. You will rejoin your arena. G.
Well, I think that answers the question of whether or not this is Laszlo.
Yeah. It also explains why he's using an alias. What it doesn't explain is what this is, or who G is. And also, if what is currently happening doesn't count as alerting someone, I don't know what that could mean.
Rejoin your arena. Gee. Only one G I know of right now.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Didn't they mention earlier? Govia left right after Alina and Laszlo took off. And they had mentioned she'd been changed lately, going from place to place. Not saying to reveal our cards to her right away, but she might have more information on things than she lets on. I got that impression a little bit. We could ask around, see if there's anyone else who knew them, but that's the only G I could think of that's tied to those two.
Well, I'm sure after he's done mourning, or hopefully just waiting on his nephew, Marku would give us some information about Glovia. He probably should be pretty happy with Virgil over here for help in making sure his nephew is living to see another day.
Absolutely. I think he's worth asking. And just general people around town want to know a little bit more about this Glovia, where she goes and what she does. Or if there's any other G we should know of.
Speaking of other G's, is Gregory in the room?
Mm-hmm. Is
Um,
Gregory here?
he is tangentially in the room. He's been kind of getting drinks together. I assume you guys would like food. So kind of
Yes.
putting together kind of a simple meal. He should be finishing up relatively soon to serve you. Drinks first, food second. So he's merely an earshot away.
Well, I doubt it'd be this fella, considering he was the one that wanted us to go look for Laszlo and Alina in the first place. But
Something I should
perhaps,
admit. Oh, go ahead, Jove.
I was just gonna say, I wish we had. Wish we could see his handwriting. See if it matches this. Just to, you know, cross something off the list.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Is there anything written in Gregory's hand around the inn, or around this establishment?
Go ahead and make a perception check.
That's a 5.
A 5. Nothing outwardly written by Gregory. The store still seems rather threadbare. Um, what little, looks like some that you can see, like the furs that you have brought in have been hung up and put on like the racks. The front display has been restocked from some of the furs that you had bought earlier in your adventures. But right now, it doesn't seem like he has like a journal out or anything written down per se.
Well, at the very least, this tells you that there is a bigger fish to fry than just Laszlo, whoever it may be. And Laszlo seemed like a tough fellow by himself. It's good to know that whenever we're going to be running up against, can do some legendary torment to somebody like Laszlo.
Certainly explains the motivation for his behavior recently, too. One other thing I should note as well, that I just kind of caught that rubbed me an interesting way back when we were with Glovia. When she was helping that fella, there was a brief moment I could notice where she looked like she froze for a second, almost as if she knew what was happening. And the moment I thought maybe she just knew the affliction, but if she knew who caused something like this, well, all I'm saying is likely need to ask her some questions, but I don't know how much I want to show the cards on that. You understand?
Absolutely, yeah. Especially if she's somebody important around these parts, comes with its own set of dangers.
Could always try just as one of arcane arts, seeking interest, but can just can think about that later.
And well, I don't want to besmirch the name of Glovia here, but And I don't know too much about the healing arts. Maybe you do, Alder, but I mean, that's dealing with the precipice of life and death as is, bringing things sometimes back from the dead and restoring them to what we would call life. And I don't know if it's too much of a hop, skip, and a jump to reanimation. I know necromancy is a very real and studied school of magic, so
Not
yeah,
expressly healing, though, in the way that you would think of something like a cleric. More like repurposing and reanimating, if you ask me.
true, true. But I don't know. Maybe the rules are different here in Barovia. What we know back home is a little different set of conditions. It's all pure speculation, but
If what happened to Laszlo is considered healing out here, then it really is backwards. Hmm. Much to think about and much to explore. And hmm, maybe we can give a trip actually to our new friend, the Baubles and everything. He has been working with Laszlo the closest, correct? Maybe he might have some information or know a little something about this Glovia.
yeah, Virgil, you seem to scare the piss out of him. So yeah, maybe we press him tomorrow and see what we can find.
And if we let him know that his best trader right now is being run out of town with fire and pitchforks, maybe he'll have to listen to us a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's worth a shot.
I mean, if we're putting bets on it, my money's on the fact that he knows absolutely nothing and is just a rat.
Likely, but I'll take whatever info I can about Laszlo. It's possible.
Well,
It's a lead. It's a lead. But
yeah,
if
and
you
this
guys have
this
other suggestions, we can check other places out if you'll want to keep pursuing this, of course.
oh certainly. Well, and the fact that this note is asking for something to be brought, and this individual is spending a lot of time in the bauble shop, looking for something specific, is my guess. Maybe he already got it from the last round, so it could be a good question to pose to that bird face fella, and see if he is willing to share what last trade he did. I think you're right, Virgil. Though he seems to be interested in ravens only, and probably is nothing more than that. But nice thing about individuals with such disposition is, well, I've got ravens in my pockets too.
Uh huh.
How much should we involve Gregory in these discussions?
I think just a casual mention of Glovia. You know, she's somebody that stands out that we've heard of. I think it's fair to ask a little bit of just what he knows. We're in awe and in wonder of everything that she did, right?
Well, you, especially with your magical talents, I think you have even better of a reason to be asking about such things. So maybe you can follow up on that line of questioning.
Oh, shit, I'll do it right when he gets back. And if Gregory is, whenever Gregory does bring back like food and drink, he would like to ask him more about Glovia.
Yeah. He returns with some simple food for you all. Once again, that same kind of thin soup once more. Well, there you are, my friends. Eat up.
Do you have a recipe for this soup?
Just something simple, of course.
Could you just
What do you
write
ask?
it on a card for me so I can take it to our next place and be reminded of Warsnew?
Really? Or that's of course, yes. First
I
time
mean, if you're
anyone's
gonna
ever.
be our main home, if you will, that's it'd be a nice sentiment, and I can't think of a better way to be reminded of hearth and home than a good soup.
His face breaks out in this kind of big giddy smile. Well, all right, my friend. Of course. Something to remember your friend Gregory by. This is the first time anyone has ever asked. You pay me too many kindnesses. Hold on. And he happily goes to the back and gets out, kind of a quill, gets the ink, and writes down kind of the basic recipe. It's water, a few lentils,
Well, I assume it's
whole
basically
lot,
just water.
a whole lot of
ingredients.
salts.
Yeah.
Put in pot, boil.
Right.
But it's written with like a bunch of flair to it and like little comments on there like, the secret to getting this right is adding more salt.
My mother and father came to Barovia when they were 13.
Yeah,
Wait, is he showing his recipe right now?
oh, absolutely. He is fully
How's that
in.
handwriting look? How's that handwriting?
Exactly. What do you think I'm doing? Do you think I actually
Yeah.
want to?
Oh, you are so.
Gregory returns back with a back-to-back sided page, filled with the recipe of.
Father's like, wait, handwriting.
Go ahead and roll investigation, Alder.
I'm sorry. I'm over here being an actual nerd going over all of my Alder notes right now, and I'm like, oh wait, handwriting. And let's see, that was investigation, you said?
Indeed.
That is a 9.
A 9.
Can I help with that?
Yes.
Okay. Roll. It is a 9.
Looking at it, Gregory's scroll contains no cursive, while the lettering, is for the most part straight, compared to how well written the torn up notes handwriting is compared to this. They don't look anything alike.
Noble. That's Alder's first thoughts.
But Gregory is happy to give you the recipe for the hair and the hair soup.
I mean, I will take it. It is a soup recipe.
Go ahead and
It's like the
add Gregory's family soup recipe to your inventory.
Beautiful. Now, speaking of just miracle works out here, appreciate the soup as always, friend. I gotta ask, Neclovia, she's something else. As someone who loves the arcane arts and everything, I'm enamored by what she does. Do you know? Where did she learn to do what she does? Do you know anything, Gregory?
Oh, do you speak of Glovia Falasenio?
The one, right? The noble was friends with both Laszlo, I believe.
Oh,
And-
no. Friends with Elvina, not so much Laszlo.
Mm.
She's the one true noble that we could call ours here in Orsnu. Her and her late husband Lucien have a manor outside of town. Used to be throw the grandest of affairs. Great time, good music, good company. Always when crops were good after successful trading. There is much love between the village and the nobles. There was for a time.
Something happened that soured the mood between you two?
Oh, not between us. What happened to the Falnesus? They had a daughter, Isabel. Kind, curious, liked to play pranks. Unfortunately, she came down with a terrible disease. It's about 15 years ago, give or take here or there. After her passing, Well, Lucian was not long. About a year or so afterwards, she passed, leaving Glovia all to herself in that large manor.
Hmm.
Afterwards, the gathering ceased. Much of the staff was dismissed or simply failed to show back up. She keeps busy and, takes her time at the hospice, travels around. Wicked smart that one is, but she lost a lot of the shine she once had after losing so much in such little time. I can only pity the woman. All that wealth, such a fine property, and no one to fill it with.
Certainly a lonely existence. You mentioned she traveled a lot after that tragedy as well. Do you know where to, or did she ever come around and say?
As a noblewoman, she of course must answer calls whenever Lord Strahd calls her to Castle Ravenloft. She would also make treks over to Vallaki, assumingly to gather supplies, get more equipment. She's very talented in medicine, very smart. So I wouldn't know the first thing of what she is buying, but I assume you would need to go somewhere larger than just our small village.
Certainly makes sense, especially with someone of her expertise and knowledge. Huh. Just a shame what happened with her and everything out here. Did her and Alina ever stay in touch much then? I know you said Laszlo was kind of bad blood, but were they still close?
Yes, of course. If Alina ever had a friend in the village, it would have been Glovia. They knew each other most of their lives. Don't know entirely the true nature of their relationship, but Glovia was one of the few people that calmed down Alina, especially if she got into one of her moods.
How frequent does Glovia leave?
I don't know, every month or so. Uh, for some periods of time, sometimes only a few days, sometimes a week or so. It varies. Of course, a woman like herself needs no one to tell her when or where to go.
Oh, well, of course. And again, like we said, somebody with that expertise, and especially if Lord Strahd is calling for her, then, well, you go where work is, right? Can't say no to something like that.
We would never deny Lord Strong. Long may he reign.
Long may
Long
he
may he
reign.
reign. Hey Gregory,
Yes, my
so
friend.
we're not from around here, as we've discussed many times now.
Yes,
The,
yes,
uh,
yes.
The lunar cycle, is it the same here as where we're from? Where we're from, the moon does like a full moon, new moon cycle like once a month. Is
Uh,
that true out here as well? Just trying to do some stuff for tracking and planning our next route. Want to make sure that we keep our compass straight and timeline right.
as long as Lord Strahd is pleased, the moon waxes and wanes every 30 days. But should he show his displeasure, the very moon may disappear from the sky itself. Let us hope that with our taxes paid and the leadership of the burgomaster, that Lord Strahd continues to smile upon Orsno.
Well, I gotta say, this is another great evening of drinking. Must commend you for that, my friend. I will probably retire for the night pretty soon, but appreciate you helping an old scholar out here and keeping us company.
Of course, your company is more than welcomed. I will begin locking everything up for the evening, making sure that all that nasty business earlier stays on the other side of that door.
If anything comes bumping in the night, just let us know and we'll be ready.
This is a great relief. And you see him still kind of big smile on him. He goes over to the door and kind of locks it down, puts kind of one of those big old cast iron keys, makes sure all the shutters are in, starts putting away kind of the pots and pans and shutting down the hair and the hair for the evening.
Is he out of earshot then now?
Indeed.
Well, fellas, are you picking up a little bit of what I think we're all picking up right now?
Yeah, seems that our new healer friend is perhaps a lycanthrope. Well,
Oh, I was thinking she was helping Alina out in the wild, keeping her healthy and safe,
It is
and would go out
possible.
once a month. I would assume right after one of her episodes.
It is possible. Both are possible, in my opinion. She could be the source of the lycanthropy, or she could be the one that is trying to assist Alina and is now working with Laszlo on some way to be involved with it, although obviously it doesn't seem like a fair a fair agreement given what we now know.
if anything, it sounds like I don't know, like Lovia might be punishing Laszlo in some way.
I think the part that concerns me is, well, her daughter had a disease. Then the husband leaves, and then she gets everybody far away at that point. That's what makes me suspicious about the lycanthropy with her as well.
Yeah.
Certainly, yeah,
And I'll say for clarification, Lucian did not leave, he died.
he died.
Yeah, I mean,
Can't have bodies building up over there, right?
nope. When you're far away and have your own estate, it becomes easier to hide such a condition. The question is, what could she possibly be wanting from the people here? You know, sounds like they're somehow
I'm looking for.
the
Hold
village
on.
people are losing their heirlooms. They're ending up in that shop.
Wait.
Then why would she need to be going through some back channels to have the reanimated corpse of Laszlo bring her baubles from the people to her?
Do you do you guys remember way back when we were first when I believe Gregor was first describing Alina so we could find her? He mentioned something. She had like a choker. It was like a raven emblazoned on it that she wore. Do you think that might be something? I don't recall if she had that when we actually found her or not.
She did. I'll let you know she did.
She did. Well, I don't know if I'm being paranoid tying ravens with our bauble friend. Or just a thought.
It's an important observation. And I will say one other facet of this that we have not considered is that this note here was ripped up. I think there's two explanations for somebody ripping up a note. It's either to be discreet after reading it and wanting to destroy the message, or as a rejection of such a thing, saying that no, I'm not going to do this. Truly, we won't know. And from Laszlo's behavior so far, it doesn't seem like he's up to so good. But I also heard something about a an item that Strahd himself was interested in, or had some connection to. I remember the whisperings from the people in the bar. That's something that decided, sure, it might be at the Burgomaster's, but maybe that's the next stop that Laszlo is looking for. I don't know. We've got a lot of angles.
Well, didn't they mention too our friend at the Eyes of Midnight? He mentioned something about things from Glovia's estate. They're clearly tied. I just wish I could recall exactly, but I know they mentioned whether it was a seller, a buyer, or getting something from there. But I know they were tied together.
Well, perhaps that should be our first stop in the morning. Is go pay that a visit to that old bird and see if he's gonna be a little more loose-lipped this time.
Certainly when he knows pitchforks might be coming for him if word got out. It is a very paranoid bunch around here, isn't it?
I think you're right.
Very well. Well, I will probably get my rest then, gentlemen, unless there's something else you want to discuss. And then I think we have some errands to do tomorrow.
Yep. I'll head in myself.
Agreed. Gentlemen, and he'll do 2 slaps on the legs and make way for his room and smoke a bowl of that whatever good halfling weed he has left.
You all settle down for the evening. The sound of thunder and the ever-present storm crackling and booming in the background. The darkness embraces the three of you. And that's where we're going to end it for tonight. A full day of adventuring, promise, and intrigue to follow. And with sleep, perhaps dreams. But until then, let's give some experience.
Yay!
As we come to the effective close of the Executioner. And we move on fully into the Marionette. For defeating the zombie bear, the swarm of centipedes, the 2 zombies, the 2 ghouls, saving the young Grelin, and discovering the identity of Eric. You all earn together 900 XP, split evenly among you 3. Everyone receives 300 experience points. As well as 5 downtime days.
I got 10 whole days.
You are also
Crazy.
in possession of Alina's wedding ring.
Well, there you go, everybody.
Boom.
Mic drop.
Go ahead and write that down. Put that in your inventory.
Jove has that.
If there was going to be kind of a table for these sort of objects, it would go on the same table as the tambourine.
Gotcha.
Where's that put everybody XP wise? Let me get a pulse check on that.
I believe Alder and I are at 1300, right?
I have us at 1303 due to our +1s.
True. I got a -1 though today, so.
Well, it also evened out though because we got another +1, right?
Oh, you're right.
Mm-hmm. And Virgil, where are you at with your XP?
I'm at 3,200.
Heard. Okie dokie. Well, with that, let us say goodnight to chat.
Good night, chat.
Nighty
Nighty.
chat.
Good night, chat.
Good night, chat. Thank you for being here for this episode. Peace in the Middle East, and much love. Until next week.